Welcome to Tiny Rails, the fun little game with, in my case, a very colourful looking train currently. And here it comes. That's what my current engine looks like. Very recently, this game was updated by the developers to fix a bug, a number of bugs, and add some more stuff. The bug being the one that stopped me progressing any further in South America. So in the last episode, I actually completed the checklist for South America Upper, because South America is in 3 separate sections. South America Upper being this one. I completed the checklist which opened up South America Center, which I think you saw the start of if you saw the last episode. I have been, I would say working hard, but it's me, so I'm never working that hard. I have been busy upgrading some stations, building some stations, and collecting the stuff I need. Now, me being me, I managed to make it slightly more challenging on myself, because I managed to pretty much fill my depot with a load of stuff which I couldn't use immediately, which kind of limits my options. So what I've done is, with with these towns and cities I can get to that aren't built, I have put all the required resources into them and then just not built them. And you can actually build these stations without actually visiting them, but it costs a heck of a lot more. It costs $1 million for me to build that without actually being at the station, or in the case of this one, also $1 million. Whereas if I build this station by visiting it, I think it's going to cost me $340,000. So that's a bit of a difference in price. But anyway, the stations I can't get to currently, my train is carrying the equipment, assuming I've calculated this correctly, to supply everything it needs and build it. So what I'm going to do this episode is build all the stations in South America Center, upgrade a load of them, because the checklist requires me to buy or upgrade 60 of them, and travel to a couple more of them. I also have to level up some cars, and as all my cars are fully leveled up, that generally means the first thing I'm going to do is go to the gumball machine and get some more cars. What I'm hoping for is that, because they added 43 new cars, hopefully I'll get some I've never seen before. So we'll try a rare roll to get a rare car. An oil tanker. Okay. Got one of those. Let's try another rare roll. This is expensive, by the way. A steampunk car. At 300,000 a roll, this gets expensive fast. So we'll try a standard roll. A behemoth food car. I'm not doing very well here. I'll try one more. An Old West cargo car. Wonderful. So out of all 4 cars that I picked up, none of them were different. However, I'm going to edit my train anyway, and I'm going to keep the first 2 cars, and I'm going to replace these 3 cars with any of the new cars which I just got, that I find first in this huge list of pages of cars I've got at the bottom of the screen. Just looking for any car that says level 1 on it. Any car at all. Not doing well for spotting them so far, and I'm on page 11 of 20. Ah, there's one. Alright, we'll shove you there. And I'll start working my way backwards. Nope, that's on. Keep going this way then. There's another one. I'll shove you there. And I'll take a third one if I can find one. Okay, here they are. You're what? You're a behemoth food car. Well, I just had one of those, but we'll have another one. I just replaced one behemoth food car. So that gives me cars which we can now level up. With 500 experience points, 2,500 experience points, another 2,500. So it's going to take me a while to level those up. However, that's one of the conditions I need to complete the South America Center checklist. So now I'm going to fill out all these stations, and then in my glorious depot, which, as I can say, has got 3,818 out of a possible 4,000 of stuff in it. A lot of building materials, but things like cows and beets and oil and guitars and soccer balls and cricket bats and diesel fuel, all of which are needed in this area. I can start emptying my depot out. So I've got just under 9 million now, having got 4 new cars, none of which were unique. And it's going to cost me a few million to build all these stations and upgrade enough of them. I also need to make a few more million. Go back to the map as explain this. Because when I complete South America Center's checklist, I'll open up South America Lower, 50,000, I'll open up a factory, and I'll open up a new depot. The problem is, when you open up a new depot, you have to buy it. Now, the last depot I bought cost me in the teens, I think, of millions. Which is expensive, and because Mexico and Southeast Asia West are closed off, I lost 2 depots, so I don't know if the next depot I buy is going to be more expensive than those 2 were, if they still count in the price, or if it's going to be slightly reduced price because I've got 2 less depots than I used to have. I'll find that out once I complete South America Center and its checklist. But that's why I want to collect as much money as possible so I can get that depot, because a depot in South America Lower will be very useful because it's still a sizable area. It will be helpful for supplying this area rather than me having to go to South America Upper and back down each time. And as I say, it should be very helpful in South America Lower. Right, I've reached Sucre. So now, for the cost of 300,000, I will build this place. And it has a market requirement of 1,000 diesel. I've got about 150, I think, in my depot somewhere. So I'm going to have to go collect a lot more diesel at some point. Okay, yep, that is my stuff. I must have picked some up along the way. I will now send my train over in that direction. Off we go. Now I can now connect this train line by buying it for 7,500. Oh, I could have waited, I suppose, and said just connect that train line. It would have been easier. Well, that was a mistake, but never mind. But once I've got this one built, Santa Cruz, I can then head down to here. Asunción? Is that how you pronounce it? Asunción? Ascension? And once I've done all of this, which... Oh yes, I've only got the 3 cars that collect cash at the front now. Once I've done all this, I imagine it will be a long enough episode. The next episode I will head to London to continue the story quest, which will allow me to get the experience my cars need whilst doing that bit, as well as stock up on any other bits and pieces that I might need. And in between this episode and the next one, I will take the load of stuff out of my depot and take it to various stations where it's necessary. Because at least that way I will have some space in my depot once again. But like I say, assuming I calculated it correctly, I should have everything I need to complete the building of every station in South America Centre. That is the plan. And if you know anything about my plans, you know how wonderful they normally are. Excuse me. They normally fall apart at... Oh, this is a nice cheap station. What does this one want? Oh, this one wants... Oh, only wants 25 beats. Pretty sure I've got those in my depot. So let me buy this line. And head down here. It does help if I put the marker on it. And head to Ascension. Ascension. No idea how you pronounce that. I'm terrible with names. I mean, even pronouncing that Santa Cruz is probably not how it's actually pronounced if you're from that area. I'm sure the emphasis and the accents are on different letters from the ones I'm pronouncing. Being a wonderful Anglo-Saxon, we tend to pronounce things the wrong way, but the way we're used to. So I plead an ignorant upbringing for my bad pronunciation of place names in parts of the world which I am not overly familiar with. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. As my very pretty train goes speeding through the countryside. It is very colourful, this train. I mean, I've had some bright pink engines, I've had some differently designed engines, I suppose you could say, with weird features, but this one's colourful. That's definitely a colourful train. The other nice thing about South America, and I would have explained this about Mexico if they hadn't fixed the game and locked Mexico off, but there are certain areas where you have more passengers than other areas, and apparently South America is one of those. Even though I've cut down the passenger capacity of my train, I'm still getting things like 111 passengers in my train. China, or Asia North, has a lot of passengers, but you have to cover long distances with them. So it's frequently easier to go to, I would say Mexico, but Mexico when I unlock it again, or South America, to make more money out of passengers than it is in, for example, Africa. Even though you're going to visit a lot more stations, you're going to visit a lot more stations with... Oh, this wants lots of cricket bats. Okay, I've got a few, not lots. So yes, visiting South America, if you want to make money off passengers, is one of the better ideas. And we'll now go to whatever we call that place. Curitiba? Curitaba? Something or other. 500 miles away? Oh yes, I did say this one was relatively cheap. So I can upgrade that one without losing too much cash. Whereas upgrading that one is going to cost me $1 million. It's like most of the stations that are not currently upgraded that I've built either cost $1 million or $500,000 to upgrade. Which will get expensive very fast. But I know I'm going to have to do it at some point. Because I still need to buy or upgrade another 31 stations. So that's going to be expensive as well. I have outfitted Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro with all the stuff it needs. I haven't been able to get to Santa Maria or Rivera. Rio Grande is available anyway, but they are equally very expensive to upgrade. So yes, upgrading South America is going to be costly. Like some of my new train carriages could do with a bit of a clean and a bit of a repair. It has increased my cargo capacity, I suppose, by having that oil tanker on my train. Yeah, these carriages aren't going to last on my train very long, as once they're upgraded and have allowed me to complete the requirement, they'll be replaced by something more useful. Passenger train, right? Yep. Okay. I don't know what that one was. Okay, I've travelled to 25 cities now. That's the one I've just part of the checklist I've just completed. Still got to level up 3 more cars and deal with all the stations. What does this one want? Oh, this one wants grapes. 350 of them. I don't have many grapes. And to upgrade it is going to cost me $500,000. And I'm going to Sao Paulo next. I have also managed to pick up another couple of photographs, including the Christ the Redeemer statue and some other monument in Brasilia, I think it was. So I'm getting closer with the amount of photographs that are required. It's amazing. Sometimes you'll go near a city and you'll get a chance to take the photograph immediately. Sometimes you might visit a dozen times before you get the chance to take the photograph. Sometimes it may be because I'm just not paying attention, but there are times when I've been to a city half a dozen times, never seen the photograph come up, then all of a sudden, next time, up it pops. So there may be some areas where I've travelled relatively extensively and I still have not taken the photograph of, although there are only about 20 left to go. A lot of which are going to be in areas which I have yet to visit, like the Caribbean, South America lower, hopefully. So I'm now down to just under 8 million. So I'm going to need to do a lot of money making to buy this depot in South America lower. However, I do have a lot of cargo to deliver from my current depot, so that may help. That's got everything it needs, so let's buy that place, Sao Paulo, which wants what? Oh, soccer balls. It wants 1,000. I've got about 350, I think, in my depot. And that bit of track, and we'll go to Rio. Burst of speed. You can't look at that and think that is not colourful. It's the designer, and normally I don't know Tiny Titan Studios and how many people they have or don't have that work on their games, but normally you've got somebody who does kind of the thinking of how to present stuff, and whoever came up with some of these train engines has got a weird imagination of how they think to present stuff. And I work with all sorts of people in development and UX designers or user interface or user experience designers can come up with some weird and convoluted ideas, but I don't think any of the people I work with would come up with something that looked like that. That is unique. I like it, basically. And Rio is now built, and it wants whatever those things are. I've got some of those, not 350 of them, but I've got some. And they can be found in South America Center. Anyway, so let's head back down this way to Santa Maria. I am carrying the stuff to build out Santa Maria, I believe. Oh yes, I've got the stuff to build out Santa Maria and Rivera. I've also got the stuff on my train to... I forgot to put some tiles in the town, so I've got enough tiles to go there as well, but I don't think I'm going to get there during this episode, so I will do that on my own time, because my own mistake where I forgot to put some tiles in there when I had the opportunity. And going back to the glorious map. Yeah, Rio's going to cost me $500,000 to upgrade. Sao Paulo's going to cost me $1 million to upgrade. I'm hoping that Santa Maria and Rivera are both going to be relatively cheap to upgrade. Mainly because I need something cheap to upgrade. Otherwise, I'm going to be spending a lot of money. Money I can't afford. Okay, there's nothing there, so straight onwards. As I look at the checklist now. Yep. Building stations doesn't count towards bio upgrade, which is unfortunate. It would be nice if it did. Train goes at 269 miles an hour, all the way up to 337 miles an hour. This episode is starting to get to the point where I'd like to end it for time. We will speed our way towards the wonderful Santa Maria. I think, if memory serves me correctly, the developer from Tiny Titan Studios who responds on the Steam discussion boards and also to their Twitter feed, I believe. I think it's the same guy. Either that was the same account. I think when they put this update out, they did mention there are going to be further updates coming. I don't know what their timing schedule is going to be for further updates. I don't know if they know what their timing schedule is going to be for further updates at this point. But hopefully there will be at least a few more updates coming in the not too distant future to fix minor glitches, things they want to improve, and hopefully adding new and more wonderful cars, etc. That would be nice. What's this Santa Maria going to want? Oh, it's going to want apples. I'm still trying to collect enough apples for some place in South America upper, so I don't have any spare apples for Santa Maria. But normally when you connect the train line to a place, you can normally figure out what the resource it wants. If you look at your depot and you see all the resources you've got, or in your train, it tells you where they're useful for. So Like, I haven't fully constructed Natal, but I know it wants cows because that's what my depot is telling me. Rivera apparently wants oil. I've got a bit of oil, 172 to be precise. Oh, I don't have 350 soccer balls, I've got 227. So I was slightly out with my count from earlier. And build all of that lot. Yes, I had some fun going around collecting the lumber, the wooden windows, the bricks, the aluminium beams, the plastic windows. I only wants 50 oil. I've got more than 50. That's a cargo demand I can fill pretty much instantly. And then sell the rest if I don't need it. Okay, let me just go to the map. And okay, it's cheap to upgrade. Relatively cheap to upgrade. And I'm going to set my destination as Natal. Once I've built that, I'll actually have a underwater tunnel to Africa, which is quite nice because this part of Africa, I believe, somewhere around here. Knowing my luck, I won't be able to find it now because it's been a while since I looked for it. Cricket bats. Ah, yes, this part wants volleyballs. Okay, whatever that is, iron. Yeah, this type of stuff. So there's areas around here I haven't been able to fulfill their cargo demands up to this point because stuff was in South America where I couldn't get it. Now I can, so I've just got to figure out what's needed and where. Did I set the destination to Natal? Looks like I did. And then I don't even have to take a boat journey. I can just take the underwater tunnel. Okay, that's pretty much where I'm going to end this episode, as I've constructed all the stations bar the final one in South America Centre. I have now upgraded 33 out of the 60 I need to upgrade, and if I get Natal done, that should be cheap enough to upgrade, so that'll be 35. So I'll still have to find another 25 to upgrade, which, even if I'm paying just $500,000 for each one, that's 12.5 million. I don't have 12.5 million, so it's going to take me a little while to finish the South America Centre checklist, mainly because it's going to cost me a lot of money. But like I said, in the next episode I will be continuing on with the story quest, and that requires a trip to London next, then possibly onto Madrid. I'm not sure. I'll find out. At some point I've got to go to Madrid because that's where we're doing a robbery. But before I get there I have to go to London, then see where it sends me next. But as always, I hope you enjoyed or found it informative, or you've seen stations and resource requirements you weren't aware of or hadn't seen before. And hopefully I will see you down the track for more of Tiny Rails in the near future. Cheerio!